we call practicalizing our prayers. It is not just all about performing spiritual exercises. There are so many things that we need to put into practice for our prayers to work. For the women who are praying for the fruit of the womb, you've been begging God for the fruit of the womb, but you can't really look at another person's child, not to talk of taking care of that child. That your prayer is a very difficult one. We live by examples. You have to show examples. I'm not saying you should go and adopt a child when you don't really want to adopt. I'm not saying you should be going out and be carrying people's children when you don't really want. No. But at least for someone who is looking forward to being a mother, you are expected to have the heart of a mother. Okay? That wherever you see little children, you show them that love. That is practicalizing your prayer. You show them that love. You help them out. You can visit the motherless babies home. Majority of us, I believe, those who are here, do not actually know where motherless babies homes are in your different locations. You don't really know where these locations are. You don't know where they are. You don't know what these children are passing through. Yes, we all know about motherless babies, so we know that the children kept there are the ones who do not have parents. But have you ever tried to visit that motherless baby's home? Have you ever tried to buy them, even if it means one roll of tissue or one sachet of detergent? Have you ever done that? But you are looking for something from God. You are asking God for a blessing. But you are not practicalizing that your prayer. You don't practicalize it. No, none of majority of us have never visited the motherless baby's home, even for once in our life. For once in our life, we haven't done that. If you have never done it and you know that you have been asking God for something, I want you to do it. It's even better that you visit those children, give them something, than carrying your money and giving to someone who is okay. That someone who is okay because you are looking for something from the hands of that person. Take those items to those children. The children cannot reward you. They cannot thank you. But their hearts will carry your request to God. That is all God wants. Put everything into practice. And then you know you have someone who is sick with you. And you have been praying for God to heal the person. Every now and then you take the person to hospital. And after the treatment, you bring the person home. And maybe God has blessed you financially. You have, money with you. But you have never tried to at least buy a drug for somebody who is sick, somebody who is having headache. You haven't done that. You are keeping your whole money for that your own person who is sick, so that you'll be using the money to treat the person. You need to put it into practice. Practicalize that your prayer. You are asking God for healing upon the person with you, but you haven't actually practicalized that your prayer. I'm going to tell us something about this healing of a thing, because this is where I am called. This is part of my calling, healing. I know I have that gift to heal. Yes. I'm going to tell us a little bit about that. I remember when I was seriously sick, that I was rushed to the hospital by 12 midnight. I was rushed. If I don't know what would have happened, but I was rushed to the hospital by 12 midnight. While we were there, the moment we got there, I was admitted immediately and treatment started. It was an emergency case. They started giving so many injections at the same time. While all these things was going on, a young guy was brought into the hospital. The guy was about dying. He had an accident and his leg broke. His bones were just coming out. The sight wasn't good at all. There was blood everywhere. Nobody knows the guy. Even the people that brought him inside the hospital can't tell who he was, because they saw him lying along the road and decided to bring him into the hospital. And then Nigerian hospital. If you don't have anybody with you, you don't have any money, they will not treat you. And this guy was shouting, crying, begging for them to save him so that he will not die. But nobody looked at him. So what I did was, in that my state that I was unconscious, I was able to signal to my husband and he came. And I asked him to see what he can do to the guy. And he asked me, what do I want him to do? I told him that I saw the guy's bone, that I am not comfortable, I'm not okay. He asked me to relax. He pushed me down on the bed. And I had to lie down. I didn't say anything again. But then, what he did was, he walked up to the nurses and asked them how he can help. And they told him that they needed to open up a file for the guy, buy some drugs, some injections, start treatment immediately. And he paid for all these things. He paid for all these things, and they started treatment on the guy immediately. And you know what happened? Myself that was rushed into the hospital, the healing came upon me all of a sudden, immediately. Healing came upon me immediately, to the extent that I got up from the bed and sat down on the bed. I wasn't sick any longer. I was fully okay. I was alert. The doctor had to come to me. He thought like maybe something is wrong. Decided to check my vital signs and everything. Checked my temperature and everything was okay. And he asked me what happened. I told him I don't know, but that I'm sweating and I need air, that I am fully okay. And that was around 3 a.m. in the morning. And the doctor refused and told me that they are not even going to discharge me in 2 days' time. I started crying. I told him to discharge me, that I'm fully okay. So by 5 a.m. in the morning, they noticed that I am fully okay. They decided to discharge me. You see how God works. You see how he works. I spoke on behalf of the guy. My husband went into action, and God transferred the healing to me and healed me. But a lot of us, even if you have a lot of money inside your pocket, you visit people in the hospital, you came to see somebody, and when you are going, you just go just like that. It is only the person that you have come to see that you will either pray for or give something to. You will not look at any other person. Meanwhile, you are praying to God to heal the person whom you have in the hospital. You are praying so that God will heal that person. But there are other sick patients around. Even if you don't have cash, you have the mouth to pray. And you pray strictly for that person that you came to visit. What about the rest? Don't they need that prayer? There is a way that God works. When you practicalize that your prayer by moving to the next person, to the next person, to the next person to pray for them, you are actually tapping into those healing from all those people. You are tapping into their healing, transferring it to your own person. That is how it works. You have to learn how to practicalize your prayer. Not just praying every now and then. And one thing about practicalizing these prayers, it works with faith. You don't have to grumble. You don't have to murmur. You don't have to be counting times for God. Nobody counts time for him. As you practicalize that your prayer, you leave everything for him. You have prayed. You have done what you are supposed to do as a human being. The rest is left for him to do. But so many of us who practicalize our prayers, I know someone who loves doing this, which I have warned her seriously. It is better for her to stop than pretending, to be putting everything into practice. After putting it into practice, she will start giving God time. 1 week after, she start murmuring. After all, I did this for God to do this for me, and he didn't do it. She has done this several times, and for all those times, she never got any answer to her prayers because she actually didn't do it with her heart. So you will learn how to pray. And as you are praying, practicalize your prayer. There are so many things that you need to do. You know that you don't get luck. Wherever you go, you are not favored at all. You are not favored, and you can't tell the reason why. And you have been praying and you have been begging God to favor you. Sometimes, even if you don't know the spiritual exercises that you can do to attract that favor, sometimes you take your goodness outside. You never know when you can entertain an angel. Take your goodness outside. Help people outside. Ask them to pray for you. You have actually practicalized those your prayers that you have been praying and asking God to grant you that gift of favor. Take that your goodness. After praying, take your goodness outside. Bring sunshine into the life of somebody who doesn't have that sunshine. Bring sunshine into the life of that person. And as you are doing that, you are tapping into that sunshine for yourself. and you are going to see how your own life will turn around. Majority of us do not know much about spiritual exercises. So many of us are equally blessed to know more because a lot of us have risen to teach us that. But whereby you don't know of anybody to teach you that, you are not aware of it, there are things you are supposed to be doing on your own to open doors for you. You are asking God for money, for wealth. You don't have money. You don't know what to do to make money. Money is running away from you. But one time or another, somebody will give you money. Just take for yourself. And then this money, you cannot get a little out of this money to give to somebody else. No. Because you will say that it is not enough for you. You have so much problems to solve with money. If you remove one out of that money, you will no longer have enough. You are actually shutting the door of that money from locating you. You are shutting that door. Practicalize that your prayer. God, I'm begging you for money. And then someone decides to give you a little. And you know of someone who doesn't have. You don't have to wait for the person to ask you. If the person has ever lamented to your hearing about what he or she is suffering from, maybe cash-wise, you go ahead and help. Help, but let it be that the person refuses to accept that help. Offer that help to that person. When you do that, you are equally opening the door of that wealth to come in for you. So as you are praying, you have to put your prayers into practice. If you are performing any spiritual exercises, you must back it up with prayer. I always tell people that there is nothing you do on earth that will work for you without prayer. You must back it up with prayer and let it work for you. So for people who are like, it doesn't matter whatever you are passing through in life, it doesn't matter, but you know you have been asking God for a favor, you have been asking God to make it work for you, to make a way where there is no way for you. You equally go out there and help somebody. Make a way where there is no way for another person. Open that door for somebody else, no matter how you open it. Anyhow, as long as you help someone to smile, as long as you help bring sunshine into somebody's life. When you do that, it will turn around. See, this life is just like a boomerang. That's what it is. Whether it is a curse or a blessing, it is just like a boomerang. What you do to somebody is actually coming back to you, whether good or bad. So that is why we have to be very careful in life. You are asking God to do something for you. You have to return it. Give it to another person, and God will return it back to you. That's how it works. And when He returns it back to you, He's going to return it in much number than you've ever asked for. So I want to encourage us, number one, to be prayerful in life. You have to be prayerful. And I've told us several times, most of the times, God is actually looking at you, waiting for you to open your mouth and pray. But instead of you praying, you are running around, chasing this pastor to pray for you, chasing this man of God to pray for you, and you yourself, you do not want to pray. When those people pray for you, God has said them, He will still wait until you open your mouth and talk. And that is why He told us that we shall ask and it shall be given. We shall seek and we will find. We shall knock and the door shall be opened unto us. That is what God has told us. And so this is what we are supposed to be doing. If you want Him to do it for you, you go ahead and do it for another person. All right? Go ahead and do it for another person while you pray. And when you pray, if you know that you have prayed for a very long time and you are not getting answers to your prayers, I've given us this teaching once. Stop praying for that thing anymore. Okay? Just have that faith. Stop praying for that thing anymore. And try and see how you can enter into that case. When you enter into the case,